Hi, this is Mike Kelly. I'm going to be giving you an overview of the Chord Maestro application, the free tool that allows you to create and render chord charts and also display them during live performances. So what's in this video? I'm going to try to give you an overview of what the purpose is of the application, some of the main features, and go through a short application demonstration and also show you where you can get it and download it. So the purpose of Chord Maestro is essentially to be able to create and display chord charts for bands during live performances. So instead of using your standard music stands, you basically have an electronic display with all of your chord charts that you can, step through during a live performance. Just to simplify, the whole process of learning new songs and also just maintaining a library of chord charts. So instead of having, binders of songs, you would just have them electronically. So the main Chord Maestro features um, are listed here. So you can create and render PDF chord charts written in Chord Pro format, which I'll go into a little bit later, but it's essentially you write it in a text format and it can create a rendered PDF chord chart that looks really nice. You can, once you have the PDF file of the chord chart, you can create these chord cue files, which allow you to basically set up points for navigating through the chord chart. So the ordering of different sections of the song, how you want to go through the song, and then you can move those into set lists. So if you're getting ready for a live performance, you can put together set lists with multiple songs and easily walk through each of them during the live performance. If you use Planning Center Online, a lot of churches use this. The application has really great integration with that, so you can import songs and update the information, create new arrangements, a lot of cool things. And lastly, the application has an automatic update feature, so you don't have to continuously download new versions of the app every time a new feature comes out. So now I'm going to move into a demonstration of the tool. Okay, so this is the application. So I'm going to kind of walk through the main features in turn. There's really two types of projects that you can create. A project for us is really just a way to manage a set of either chord charts or set lists or whatever it is we're working with here. So the first thing I want to do is talk about these chord cue library project. And this is the one that has the little discs. And really, these are projects that allow you to maintain a set of chord charts. So I said you can create chord charts, and then you can also, create navigation points through them. So let's just look at one of these, just a raw chord chart in text format. So you can see here we've got some text interspersed with these chords that are in brackets here. And you also have these directives. These are Chord Pro directives that allow you to specify things like the title, the key, and various other things. This is a really awesome editor. I don't know if you have seen in the past, there was a program called Chord, which sort of introduced this format, this Chord Pro format, and it was nowhere near as nice as this, and also that tool is not even maintained anymore, and you'll be hard pressed to find something for free that even comes close to this. But basically, you have syntax highlighting. So if I start to type here, and when I go to do a chord, I get it automatically colors it in green, and you can actually change those. I'm not going to go ahead in this video, but you can actually change it. And then for these directives, you actually have autocomplete, so you don't even need to know all of the directives. So you can specify things like the font that you want to use for displaying chords, and I mean it pops up the list of fonts that you can use. on your system. As you can see, there's more than enough. I'd recommend Arial. That one tends to be a really good one. Chord size, text size, you can play around with them. Each one of these will affect the overall render of the chord chart. So we can actually get a view of what the chord chart looks like here by going to this render view. So this is what it looks like here. Now you might say, all right, well, I want to be able to look at that as I'm building the chord chart. So then we can do the split window thing here and go here, and then now as I type, it should pop up over on this other side here. Yeah, see, popped up over here. So that's kind of a neat little feature. So a very nice chord chart editor. A lot nicer than pretty much anything else that you'll see out there in terms of being able to give you the autocomplete and so forth. It also has a syntax checker. So if you try to if you have an unmatched parentheses or something like that, or unmatched bracket, it'll actually complain at you and show that that's an error. So you can easily find problems and fix them before you try to render it. Now, once you get done with actually working with a chord chart, and you actually want to generate an actual PDF, you can just go over here and indicate what key you want to render the chord chart in, and then just hit this little PDF button here, and it creates the file here. If I open that up, there it is. And so it automatically is transposing the song into the appropriate key, because the original key here is the key of A, and we rendered it in the key of F. One other thing, just as far as like the directives go, we can select them here. If you particular directives, like let's say I wanted to add an album here, I can just select it there, and it'll pop it in here. And once again, it's giving us an error there because we actually have to put some text in here. So really nice chord chart editor, pretty easy to use. The only thing you'll need to know is just a little bit about the Chord Pro format, which you can Google. It's pretty easy to learn. All right, so then now once we generate a chord chart, so this is the one that we just rendered. You can see it has a little 2 notes next to it, or this little 8th note section. We open that up. That's called a chord cue file. And really the purpose of this is to be able to prepare it for a display during a live performance. So really, this is just a raw PDF file for all practical purposes. So what we want to do is we want to add anchors or navigation anchors that allow us to sort of indicate where different parts of the song are. So let's start off. So we say, okay, well, here's our verse. Now this yellow outline here really indicates what the target aspect ratio is. So you want to know kind of what sort of screen you're going to be displaying the chord charts on, and try to match that. So because as you can see here, we've got this verse, but it doesn't all fit on one screen here. So we'll actually have to kind of break it up. And so this yellow bar helps us to do that. You can also hide that by just clicking that. So now we're going to add some anchors. A couple things you can do. You can just click this little anchor button here, and what it does is it adds an anchor point at the top of the screen. So you just want to position the chords or the words such that they're at the top of the screen there, and then you click that and it adds this anchor point here. By default, it just gives it a number, but you can actually give them names as well. So let's just, we've got that one, and that takes us down to this line. So then we'll move it up to this line here, and this time we'll give it a name. So there's actually a set of different anchor names that you can give them by default. These are all configurable in the tools options, which I'll show in a little bit. So here we added another anchor point, and once we have anchor points, you can then begin to navigate through the chord chart. So we've got 2 defined, and they're listed up here in order. So the first one was named 1, next one's named So let's just throw another one here. Okay. Add one there, and we'll call this one chorus. And as you can see here, now we have the ability to step through the song. You can look to see kind of in detail, sort of a list view of what we just did over here on the details page. And this actually defines the different anchors and the location, which isn't really going to mean anything to you. The page, it tells you what page, and this is sort of the position on the page. But you can also define the navigation sequence. So let's say that we wanted to be able to repeat certain parts of the song. We can click on a navigation anchor here, move it over here, and now when we navigate through the song, it will actually repeat it like we want it to. So it basically jumps back to the verse here after the chorus. So we only have 4 location anchors, but we can sequence them any way we want to be able to get the arrangement that we want. So really this allows you to have different arrangements based on with the same chord chart. Okay, so now we'll move on to annotations. So sometimes you want to be able to add notes or whatever to your chord charts just to kind of give you an indication. Well, Chord Maestro allows you to use different types of annotations to accomplish this. So you can add a text note. So you can say here. So if we want to just have like a note that says to start building, we can add that, and then we can add an arrow to indicate where we want that to happen. There's also support for different types of shapes. You can go in and edit these types of things as well. So we could click over here and go to properties. You can actually change the color of these things and different properties, border thickness, and so forth. You notice here I selected this different icon. So there's if you want to select something, you use this arrow, and if you want to be able to actually be able to delete or update the properties, you select this little hand tool. So we have different types of things we can do. We can do different types of geometric shapes. Let me select this there. We can do a free draw type of, or just lines. That's different types of lines. Free draw. Let's see if I can get this square working. Yeah, there we go. All right. So different types of annotations that you can add anywhere in the chord chart, and really it's just all about helping you to play the song the way that you want to play it. So if you need to remember different dynamics of the song and so forth, this will help you to do those things. All right, so once you get your navigation anchors in, then you can talk about, or you can think about actually automating the playback. So, I mean, obviously you can manually step through the song as you're playing it, but a lot of times you'll be, if you're playing with a click track, you're going to be playing it the same way each time. You can actually pre-record the navigation events so that you can just be totally hands-free as you're playing this song. So the way that we do that is we, first of all, we go to Tools, Options, and Chord Maestro comes with a metronome that can basically give you a click track exported to whatever audio device you want. So I have it selected here, this Chord Maestro metronome. I also have a Logity UMI 3 MIDI controller pedal, which is basically this. It's basically got 3 buttons, and it sends a MIDI signal to the computer. Chord Maestro can capture that and those MIDI commands can be mapped to different application commands. Just while we're at it here, there's some other, you can use any kind of MIDI controller pedal you want, depending on how much money you want to spend. Basically just want to get on Amazon and search for MIDI foot switch or something along those lines. So yeah, they can get pretty complicated depending on, you know, how many things you want to control. Our church uses one like this for just real basic navigation. Okay, so while we're at it here, you can, as I said, you can take the different MIDI commands, and you can assign them to different application commands. So main ones we want to be able to do is we want to be able to switch songs. So we can select the application command. This is a list of possible, so there's quite a few. Let's see, next song. And then once you have that, I actually have that Logity pedal hooked up to the computer. So then we just hit this listen button and push the pedal button, and it'll actually capture what the command is. So this is the MIDI command that was sent. So we just add that, and now every time I hit that button on one of these chord charts or within the application, it'll execute the command. So the other thing I want to do, we want to be able to go to the next anchor. So that's basically stepping to the next anchor within a song. We hit listen, push the button. There it is. Add that. Now we want to be able to also go to the previous anchors. Basically, you know, step backwards. Now let's listen for that one. Okay, I'll push a different button here. Okay, we add that. Okay, so now we've got 3 commands that are defined and mapped, you know, so that when we can actually use this MIDI controller pedal to step through the song. So I'll actually use the MIDI controller when I'm doing my navigation automation. Okay, so got that. Now let's go to the metronome here. So this is where you specify that for the click track that we're going to be using. So you specify, you know, what device you want to use. I'm just going to send it my primary sound driver. You can pick the type of metronome click you want. So I could, you know, pick something like this. You can actually test it here. That's what that one sounds like. I have a lot of different ones. The one that I like is this ping high, and you can control the volume here depending on how loud you want it. And this button here, or this checkbox, just says, you know, every time we stop playback, it'll just automatically rewind, which is usually what you want to do. Okay. So now let's go back to here, and you'll notice this little toolbar here, this metronome toolbar. I'll enable that. This is actually the Chord Maestro metronome. So you can, if you just want to use the metronome without doing any recording, you can actually just push the button here, and it'll start the metronome. You can disable it by doing here, and this is where you can set the tempo of the song, and this is important for recording. So we'll just assume that we got a 100 BPM tempo. You notice over here on the details page, it shows up here. So there's a recording tempo and a playback tempo, and there's no events here right now, so you can actually change this recording reference tempo. And after things are recorded, you can play back either at the same or a different tempo, and it knows how to scale the timings. So you record once and play at any tempo. All right, so let me just show how this works. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to hit record here. And you'll notice that the MIDI clock is now ticking here. So basically you would start playing with your band or whatever, and then as you go through the song, you use the MIDI controller to step to the next section of the song as you get to it. And each time you do that, the application is actually capturing the timing of what you did. And we just basically step through the song as we normally would as we're playing through it. So you can do this while you're actually practicing with the full band, so that you get the timing, you know, to match exactly what you're going to be doing. This does assume that you're going to be doing things the same way each time, but a lot of times that is the case. So, all right, so we're just stepping through. All right, so let me just hit stop here. Okay, So let me jump back. Now I'm going to play it back so that you can just see what it looks like. I've got events recorded. Now it should auto advance as we get to the different parts of the song. So I'm not touching anything right now. It's just basically following the clock. And see, it's going to just step through with the same timing that I did the recording. So really, this is just totally hands-free. You're not having to touch anything as you're playing through this. So very useful because it basically allows you to just focus on playing your music and not have to worry about what step actually hitting the pedal to step through. And also the great thing is you look up and you never can get lost in a song because you just look up and you're guaranteed to know where you are in the song. Okay, so let me just stop that. I'll jump up here to the details page. We see there's a list of events here now that basically are the timings of the different events that I created. You'll notice the recording reference tempo is grayed out now because once it's recorded, you don't want to change that value because that would make the whole thing invalid. But you can change the playback tempo so that if you want to either play it at a faster tempo or a slower tempo, you can change that, and Chord Maestro will scale the event timings to be consistent with that tempo that you chose. Let me save that. All right, so the last thing I want to do is to talk about, okay, so you've got your timings, you've got your anchor points. So now really it's like, all right, let's get ready for the actual performance. So we use set lists for this, and we can go here and create either create a set list project or chord cue library, which is what we were just working with before. You can create either one of those using these nice wizards. There's also a sample project here if you just kind of want to see an example of using annotations and so forth. So I'm going to just create a new set list here. So we'll just call this test list. All right, do that. It opens up here, and yeah, real simple. It's just a blank list. So then what we're going to want to do, we'll just take it and we just drag from our chord cue library into the set list. Grab a couple of these guys, and we can order them however we want. It's not difficult to do, and this just sets up the ordering for the actual performance so that it's really easy to just step through each of the songs. I can use my controller pedal to cycle through the songs pretty easily. And then, when you're ready, you can just hit this present button, and it will show it full screen mode. Right now, it looks like the resolution on this computer is not really allowing everything to fit on the screen, but this would be showing up on a big monitor or confidence screen type of thing, so that you can the text is large enough to see when you're actually doing the performance. So once it's up there displayed, then you can just hit play to do your playback, and then when you're done, you can just go to the next song, and you're off to the races. One really nice thing that Chord Maestro does for you is that it allows you to easily switch between automation of the navigation events, i.e. recorded events, and just manual control. Because one thing that you're always going to need is the ability to just go manual, because things happen. People forget to play things they're supposed to play, and you get out of sync with your recording and so forth. So one of the things that often happens is someone will just get off track, and you just basically have to go manual. Now there's two ways to do that. You can either just stop the recording, and then so let's say it's recording. I mean, we can just stop it and then just continue navigating using the foot pedal. Or if you want the click track to keep playing, you can just use this little disconnect button here. And so the click track continues playing, but the events are no longer firing. So you basically are just going on manual control. So that can be really helpful during a live performance. All right. So lastly, we'll just talk a little bit about some of these options, and then I'll show you the Planning Center stuff. So once again, this is our MIDI configuration where we can add our different foot controller commands. And then for presentation display, you've got some good things. You can select the display that you want to use. So if you have multiple displays, they just show up here. And this is, for the full screen mode. And you specify your target resolution, the resolution that you are ultimately going to be presenting at. Oops, I closed it. And you can display some different, configure some different colors here. Page background color. Even if your PDF is has a white background, Chord Maestro can can like invert the colors of the PDF such that the background is black and the text is white, which is usually what you want when you're displaying on a big screen, just because it's easier to see the white text on the black display. You can display the navigation anchors on the display so that you can see kind of where you're going next, and that basically is just showing the green anchor points. Sorry about that. And so you can show the next anchor on the presentation display. So that's just if you're playing the chorus, it can say, all right, hey, the next section is the bridge, just so you kind of get a heads up of where you're going. You can define the different default anchor names. So if I wanted to add like a chorus 2 or something like that, I can do that. And then these will show up in when I go to add anchors. This will be in my list. This is the Chord Maestro metronome, which I showed you, and then this is Planning Center. So you can actually have it remember your email and password, so you don't have to enter it in each time. So let me show you this Planning Center integration. So it shows up as a window down here. If it's not open, you just go to Window and select it here. So go to Connect to Planning Center, and it'll automatically enter in my information. All right, so we can get a list of the song or the plans and the songs associated with those. You also get the full library of songs in Planning Center, which is really nice. And for each of these songs, we can actually look at and change some of the attributes. So you can change author and so forth. And if you change it here, it actually updates it on Planning Center. You can look at the different arrangements for each song. So here we use 2 different types of arrangements. We have like a confidence screen arrangement, which just shows it's in a bigger font and it walks through the song step by step. And then there's a practice arrangement, which smaller font, and it's really usually a single page type of deal. Once again, if I click on any of these guys, I can adjust the attributes over here, and they will show up in Planning Center. So it shows all the songs here in alphabetical order. You can start typing the name of a song, and it will search, which is also very nice. We can add new songs. There's right-click menus that you can use, so you can add new songs here. And most importantly, if you want to import a song from Planning Center into one of your Chord Q libraries here, all we have to do is just grab it, and we can just drag and drop. And if you already have an existing version of the song, so like here I've got it, this 10,000 Reasons key of G, it'll actually ask you if you want to copy the annotations and anchors from that, which is great, because that way you don't have to enter it in each time. You don't have to recreate all of the recording and anchors and so forth. So lot of stuff that you can do. We can create new keys. We can add a new key to to the song. We can add new arrangements to the song. So a lot of the things that you can do using the web app, you can also do here. It's just I find it to be a little bit faster doing it through the application than doing it through Planning Center. So that basically wraps it up. Jump back to my view here. So now, where can you get the application? You can get it here at chordmaestro.secondchancesoldier.com, and there's also a blog there that has some useful information. And I'm currently in the process of creating some new training materials for the application, so hopefully you'll find it useful. All right, thank you for your time.